What I'm going to do now, or attempt to do now, is since the power doors are completely independent of this lift that's in here, I'm going to try and wire up C and D buttons here with a secondary wireless module to handle stow and deploy. Right now, I have to use right now, this is the only way to control the lift. So I have to pull the wire in and out and do all that obnoxious stuff. So I figure, since I only have 2 channels available on this box here, I'm just going to handle stow and deploy. Because there is a switch on the handrail, there you go, right there, that allows you to raise and lower the platform once it's out. So I figure once I get in here, it'll be nice to be able to use the remote to stow the lift and then close the doors. It'll make it a little bit faster when I'm outside in the rain because I can open the doors and deploy the lift, but it can't go down all the way. I should be able to leave this thing in here on the wall and then just reach up and hit the switch on the side of the lift, and that'll work for now. I was doing some checking earlier today, and I don't think any of my chairs, except for this one, and potentially the steampunk chair, when I get that repaired, will fit on this lift. So this thing's probably going to get swapped out sooner than later. But for right now, I'm going to check out the wiring on this remote, where it plugs in down here, and see if there's an easy way to add in this extra dual channel control box, and see if we can get a little bit more control of this thing. Just got the little cover taken off of there, and I'm realizing now that underneath this cover is a little bit of a rat's nest. As you can see down in there, that's where our hand control plugs in. And the control board is also down there, which is one of these things. So we've got some random schematics here, but this thing's, yeah, it's kind of a mess. I'll just see if I can find another output. I think typically what they do on these things is they just put a Y cable on this output right here, and then they use that to wire into the vehicle. So I'm going to see if I can figure out what the schematics are, potentially take this thing apart and figure out the wiring for that. And then, let's see here. Wake up switch, pressure switch. I don't see universal control module. Yeah, I'm going to have to find in these schematics where the actual hand control wires in. There's the personal use one. Interlock, door operator, pendant connection. I guess pendant would probably work. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'll look around through this stuff. I'll look around through this stuff and see what I can find. Okay, so cross-referencing between these 2 schematics. This one is labeled with colors but not functions. This one is labeled with functions but not colors. And they seem to be pretty much the same. So what I've done, I've taken the screws out of this bracket right here so I can unplug this connector now. There we go. And this connects to the hand control here. And I think what I'm going to do is strip back some of this wire and then just access the, sorry about that flickering light there. And then I'm going to access the wiring that I need in here and just add some jumpers to this, tape it all back up and plug it in. So we'll just have some extra wires sticking off the side of this thing, basically. According to the schematics here, we've got 2 black wires. One of them's ground, and the other one is what activates the deploy function. So I've peeled back the sheathing on this wire here for the hand control, and I need to verify that the colors in this remote wire are the same as what's in that lift. And it's looking like to me there's a lot more wires in here than there are functions or are on the schematic, and I'm only seeing 1 black wire. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this thing apart, look at the wiring in here, and then I can verify the colors on this thing and figure out which pins go to where on here. Then we can see if the colors are the same or if I need to modify anything. Yeah, got the screws out of our hand control here. Oh, let's see here. So looks like, according to our color scheme on the schematics here, red, orange, white, green, black. Red, orange, brown, green, black. So let's see if we can pull this board a little bit further out of here and ascertain what our white wire is supposedly doing. Now, this is a really simple board. I'm assuming white is actually brown. Let's see here. So the white wire, red, orange, white should be up, which would be this button right here. So brown, which is pin 3. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 goes over here. Okay, so brown is white. Excellent. So now, oh boy, this is getting complicated. So orange, I believe, is going to be power, or is it red? Oh, okay, so the very first wire, which is orange, according to the schematic, it's actually red on here, but that looks like our power. So pin 2, over to here, over to here. Yeah, so pin 2, which is, wait, did I say? Yeah, so pin 2 is what orange would be on this. Okay, I'm gonna screw with this some more and get it figured out, then I'll come back. This is gonna use some brain cells. Okay, we figured it out. Black is deploy, orange is stow, red is power. And it's feeding 12 volts through here. So what I'll be able to do is wire up that 12 volts to run this thing. And then, oh, I guess I still need a ground somehow though. There's no ground wire going through this thing. Well, I can pull a ground over here somewhere. So we should be able to just, where did I cut that? We're gonna add some jumper wires here, and then black, orange, and red are basically what we need. And then I'll have to run a 4th wire from this to ground. But yeah, I think this should do something. And when the door is closed, the lift's actually disabled, which works in our favor. So if I accidentally hit one of these buttons for deploying the lift while the door is closed, it won't work because this box will not be powered up. Okay, we got it. Time for some wiring. We're ready to wire this into the control box. What I've done here, just besides make a mess, I cut it was orange, black, and red wires on our hand control here that plugs into the lift. And I've bundled the rest of the wires up because they're bypassing this whole mess. And there's screw terminals in here. So, I'm trying to shadow my camera. There's screw terminals in here. So this is going to be a junction box as well as injecting signals as needed into these wires. So this will be completed in the circuit so the hand control still works, and then also allowing it to work through the remote control, roughly. So I'm gonna get these stripped, get them fed into here, and yeah. Okay, so basic wiring here. This little control module operates on AC or DC, 12, 24 volts, so polarity doesn't matter. So we've got our power coming in, and this power, well, this hand control basically switches between power and the correct circuits to make the lift operate the way you want. But I also need it to power this module. So we're running power in there, and then there's 2 dry relays in here, which means that this power doesn't pass through. So I had to run 2 jumpers over to the common on the first relay and common on the second relay. And then we're going to stick these wires, 2 of the same color in each plug, so that they work together with the hand control and also allow this to inject power in. We're going to run them over to the normally open circuit on each one of these so that when the relay clicks, it will turn on and activate. Yeah, I don't know if that made sense or not, but jumper wires, stuff, things, Yeah. The power doors and that whole system is completely independent of this lift that's in here. So right now, if I hit this button, the doors will move even though the lift's out. That's fine, I can pay attention, whatever. This lift's gonna be in here as sort of a temporary arrangement until I get a proper... Well, I've got one in storage that I'm going to put in here that is bigger and will fit all my chairs and has a higher weight capacity. Also need to beef up the floor a little bit because this floor wasn't designed for this sort of installation. It does move a little bit, but it's not bad to use for right now, especially with this Q6 Edge 1. It seems to work all right. Okay, so all that being said, power doors are separate. These little wireless modules that I use come with a remote with 4 channels. Each module has 2 dry relays, so you can basically get 2 functions. So, in theory, you can control 2 different modules with 1 remote. So right now, A is open, B is closed for doors. My plan is to have C be deploy and D is stow. So, since this thing is a mess, I went ahead and took apart this, checked the wiring colors, and unplugged it from the lift, chopped the wire in the middle, and then added our second wireless module here. I'm kind of glad this van came with some random schematics. They haven't been 100% accurate or whatever, but I mean, they've kind of helped with a few little things. So this tape was just temporary so I could get out of the van because the lift is not operational with this unplugged. So I'm going to go over our wiring here. Basically, what we've got going on is we've got 3 wires that have been stripped out of this hand control, and we've put this wireless module between the hand control and where it plugs into the lift. And we've got power coming in, and the way this hand control works is there's a power wire going through it, and when you hit a button, it shorts that power wire to one of 4 other wires in here for different functions. So we pulled that through. We're using that 12 volts to power this module, which is fine. It doesn't use that much power. And then we're taking that power, which is also going to be used for switching. We bumped it over to common on both of these dry relays. So yellow wire there, and we've connected the 2 functions that we want, which is stow and deploy, up to these headers here on the normally open circuit. Now with relays, normally open and normally closed refers to the state of the relay contact when there's no power applied to it. So normally open means when it's just sitting here, it's not doing anything. When you hit the switch and it's powered up, then it goes closed. But yeah, so normally open on both of those. But since we had to cut this wire in half, we're also using this screw terminal to join the 2 halves of that wire back together so that this thing will still work. So I believe we are ready to test this thing, and I want to put the lid on the box. I routed the antenna for this kind of up over here. So what I'm going to do to kind of prevent some wire strain, I've taken the wires that we're not using in this and just wrapped them around. There's a little hole right here. So I'm going to put this down like that. And I couldn't find my smaller zip ties, so we're just going to use these 75-pound ones. And we're just going to run a zip tie basically all the way around this. Okay, so, I guess now that I've tied all that up, I still need to run a ground wire. That's always something. I can only find this yellow wire, so I'm gonna pull off a length of this, and then probably just pick up one of these bolts or something here and use that as a ground. I thought about driving a tech screw through something, but there's enough random bolts here. I can just use a ring terminal. It's starting to get crowded inside this little box. There we go. Oh, dang it. Oh, frayed the wires. You gotta be careful with the little stranded wires, that one little strand doesn't get over and cross-connect something. Because the magic smoke that's buried inside here will get released as soon as you do that. And that is bad. Okay, there we go. Tighten down our screw. And now we have a yellow ground wire that's the same color as our power jumper. Convenient. But nothing else yellow comes out of this box, so I think that should be fine. Okay, so let's wrap this down. Let's see here. How long I need this. Probably not that long, but I'm going to go nuts with the electrical tape here and try to make this look a little bit more pretty. Oh, Before I put the lid on, we need to do the programming for the remote. I'm going to plug this in, and then we're going to ground this thing out and program our remote before we put it all back together. Because, yeah, reasons. The way this works is you hit the button for the relay that you want to program, and then push the corresponding button on the remote that you want to use. So you have to push and hold the button while you hit this on the remote. So, let's see here. So push and hold till it lights up. Okay. Okay, whatever that is now stored. Okay, that's backwards. So we need to reprogram that. Okay, so I just realized something. Apparently you can program 2 buttons on the same function on these remotes at once. So I had to completely clear all of the stored codes in this thing because it was running the pump while it was deploying. It's only supposed to run the pump while it's going up. Oh, I switched the buttons. So going up and then going down, it shouldn't be running at all. Okay, so I'm gonna have to erase them again and do it again to get it right, but that's why it was behaving strangely. We figured it out now.